Let's bring in our guest now, and this week we have Toby Young, Director of the Free Speech Union, and we also have Amy Nickell Turner, a broadcaster and political commentator. Welcome to the programme, both of you. Amy, we've seen dozens of people arrested for what they posted online regarding the attack in Southport and later the riots. Now, broadly speaking, are you comfortable with that?
Yeah, when I remember how incredibly uncomfortable I was with what have now been turned out to be the worst bit of racial aggravated rioting since in post-war Britain, you know, attacking police, attacking emergent services, setting fire to a hotel full of people with no intention that those people will be getting out. I'm really comfortable with using existing legal framework to crack down on what was the source of this rioting. It started through disinformation online, misinformation online.
Toby, your response?
Well, as a free speech campaigner, I obviously feel very uncomfortable about the number of people who found themselves arrested, convicted and sentenced to jail merely for things they've said on social media. Now, I don't think that there's no justification ever for prosecuting people for things they say on social media, but I think the test should be extremely high. The test that the US Supreme Court set out, known as the Brandenburg test, in a case called Brandenburg versus Ohio, is that speech should be permitted. It should enjoy the protection of the First Amendment unless it's going to lead to imminent lawless action. And I think in this case, even though some of the things people have been prosecuted for saying on X, Facebook, etc., did coincide with outbreaks of public disorder. I think in order to justifiably imprison them, you'd need to show that they led directly to outbreaks of violent disorder.
Let's take a look at a very specific case then, Amy. The case of a 55-year-old woman who was arrested for allegedly being the first to tweet the name Ali al-Shikati, which we now know very quickly, really, we knew was the wrong name. She was arrested on suspicion of publishing written material to stir up racial hatred and false communications. And I just wonder if you think her defence, that she got it from a local source, that it was already online, she deleted it within 2 hours, is sufficient to keep her out of the courts.
I think when you have such a massive platform as this particular individual, it comes with a bit of responsibility. And like I've already implied, if something isn't legal to say out loud, just in everyday life, then it shouldn't be legal to say online either, and it isn't. So if you are, what I would see that she was inciting there, inciting violence, inciting racial hatred, then she shouldn't be able to get away with saying it, surely.
Does it matter to you that she prefaced the whole thing with, if this is true?
I think this is the whole Farage defence, isn't it? Oh, I'm only asking questions, which I think is particularly disingenuous, because when you say something with a question mark on the end, it doesn't make it any more palatable. If I went on an aeroplane and went, "Is that a bomb?" I don't think that it would.
But did you? But what if you genuinely believe the question? What if you genuinely believe the question?
So I think that even if she did genuinely believe the question, what is she trying to, what is the end, what is the answer? So she wants the answer to invoke a certain reaction from her followers. Otherwise, what's the reason for her sharing the question?
Toby, you think it was right to arrest her?
No, I don't. I think this particular woman was arrested, I think, late last Thursday afternoon. They sent, I think, 3 police officers and a paddy wagon to her house, totally over the top. They confiscated all her devices. They confiscated her husband's laptop as well, and they held her in custody for 36 hours. And then they released her on police bail without having charged her. And the reason they haven't charged her, you can only surmise, is because they haven't got sufficient evidence yet to charge her. And it's doubtful, I think, that they will. The 2 offences they were looking at her for were the one you've mentioned already, which is the stirring up hatred offence. But to find someone guilty of that offence, you have to show intent, that she intended to stir up racial hatred. And it's pretty clear that she didn't. and the test for that is usually pretty high. And on the false communications offence, that's a new offence that came into force in January of this year as part of the Online Safety Act. But to be found guilty of that, you have to publish something that you know to be false, and that which you intended to cause harm. And she didn't know that what she posted was true. She didn't know that it was false because, as you say, she added, if this is true. And when she found out it wasn't true, she took it down after a couple of hours. I don't think that either offence will be made out, and I don't think she'll be charged. And I think, therefore, the police's treatment of her is extremely heavy-handed.